It's been a while since I've checked up on Drawingfandom to see if she's got that new how to make an OC video. I'm just gonna... Holy fuck! How's it going? It's Alex here. Now, let's get something straight here. I was gonna do a commentary on Drawingfandom a year ago, but never happened because she had taken the video down and it just was far too gone. I just didn't want to anymore. However, like you saw in the little skit there, she's finally remade her new version 5 months ago. Okay, so I literally thought she might not actually make it, but since I've been watching some commentaries lately, I decided to go take a look, and, well, it's happening. First off, this is going to be a two-parter, mostly because I'm going to cover both videos, the original and the new one. Take heed, this first one is very, very long, and the second one is also very long. So the first video is covering the original 30 minutes, and the second is covering the new 32 minutes. As I don't have my talk sprites finished yet, I'm going to use Keith from Voltron Legendary Defender instead. This is gonna be fun. Another thing, I am aware that Drawingfandom's new video is so much better than this one, but I'm going to point out that in this new video, she said she was going to keep the video. Might I remind you that this video is in fact deleted. This is to cover what went wrong with the first one, and what's better and what didn't change about the second one. I'm just lucky enough to actually been able to download the video itself, and manage to screenshot evidence of what actually went down in the comment section. Specifically with my comment. Lastly, these videos might sound scripted. It's not that I haven't. In fact, I did with this first part, but as it so happens, I will be only writing down an outline from here on out in this video. It's just that I don't really do scripts because I can't follow them correctly, and I can say stuff on fly better than I can reading off the script. So without any further ado, on with the commentary.
The humble OC. There has been many good OCs like the ones you are seeing now, but today I'm going to show you how to create a good OC and what makes a good OC.
Okay, funny thing here. She literally misspelled character. This is important because later on she talks about proofreading, but we'll get to that when we get to that.
And how to make a good OC, you must first understand the quality traits possessed in a bad OC. And here I will tell you what quality traits are possessed in a bad OC, character design-wise.
The first trait bad OCs tend to have is bases. Yes, folks, bases are bad to be used. They are not good. Most of them make your OC look lazy.
The thing I have a problem here is that bases are like templates. In graphic design, templates are used for people who don't know how to design, but need a design that's cheap and easy to make. So like Wix, or like any other template for anything else, they buy the template and they can use it however they want. That's what bases are. Bases, although you don't pay for them, people still give them to people for free so that they can use for their characters. It's not that it's good or bad, it's just that that's what they are. But here's another thing, bases aren't actual design. It's literally a tool that you use to make your character. So I don't see the point in this, really. Also, you had a volume spike, which is sort of a nitpick, but like, you should really learn how to actually record yourself better. Or, you know, retakes, that's a thing.
And the next quality trait is eye-bleeding colors, like the ones you are seeing now. Usually eye-bleeding colors tend to be a vomit of the rainbow, and your OC looks like Skittles had sex with M&Ms and created whatever this fucking atrocity is. And they usually tend to be clusterfucks that would probably cause anyone seizures if they looked at this long enough and hard enough, and make me want to puke inside.
So my friend is epileptic, and she says that this will not actually cause seizures. Optical illusions, absolutely. They will cause seizures. However, rainbow barf colors, no. She is an artist, and it would be very unfortunate if she couldn't look at a color wheel. An example of, say, this rainbow color is Rainbow Dash herself, because, you know, her name is Rainbow. Oh, like her mane is rainbow colored?
The next character trait is unoriginal character design that looks like an already made character from the show/movie, book, or other fandom you are in, like the ones here.
So, Steven Universe characters are a thing. Rubies specifically look exactly alike despite where their gems are. I'm just gonna point that out there. A lot of gems, including the pearl line and the amethysts and the rose quartzes and all that, they all look similar. I'm not saying they look exactly alike, but they do look similar. And that means that in this world, it is a thing.
The next trait is just plain wrong. You have an OC that is just plain wrong, unpleasing to look at, and makes people physically sick when they look at them.
Okay, one of the character traits she's saying is that it's just wrong. It would be great if you elaborate on what that wrong thing is. For something as vague as just wrong, it makes it hard to take you seriously.
The first character trait in a good OC is simplicity. Notice how all of these OCs don't have an over amount of accessories, and most of them have simple character designs and simple 4 or 5 colors. I mean, like 4 colors. No more than 4 colors, no more than 5 accessory objects, hairbands, whatnot.
Okay, I do agree that simple designs can be better. However, that doesn't mean you can't be elaborate with your designs. So like Yu-Gi-Oh! Specifically the monsters like Stardust Dragon, for example, my bae. Stardust is very elaborate, intricate even, and they have to animate that. Another example is Final Fantasy. Pretty sure everyone knows that. So like Lulu with her belt dress. This character with pink hair, I don't actually know this franchise very well. She's got a pretty intricate design. And Prompto. That shirt is not simple, I can tell you that much. It just depends on what narrative you're trying to pull off. So like a fantasy world, like Final Fantasy, things are gonna look nice. Just because everything is magic.
Now, much like the other one I talked about, the other trait I just talked about, the next trait is good character design that makes your character look like it fits into the show, but is not drastically like an already made character in the show, like the ones you are seeing now. All of these characters look like they would easily be in the MLP Sonic Gravity Falls fandom, but look nothing like an already made character from those shows. They look very original, and they are very beautiful, and I love them, and I never want to see people be under the impression that something like Sonic the Hedgehog cannot have a good OC.
Again, Steven Universe characters are allowed to look alike. I don't know why you think otherwise, but that's literally what happens in the show.
The next character trait for a good OC is making your character look like it fits its personality. Maybe your character is hard and a rebel, so you make it have black and rebel colors with rebel harsh lines. Maybe it's smart, so you give it glasses. Maybe it's an emo, so you make the hair cover its eyes. Little things like that allow people to know about your character when you look at it. Take Rainbow Dash, for example. She has a lot of hard colors and is edgy. Take Fluttershy. She's soft and has soft lines and colors. Take any of the Loud House characters, for example. You look at them and you get their personality. Maple Pines. You look at her and you get that she's quirky with her sweaters and her smile. Zeus. You get he's the comic relief because he's big and heavy set.
Okay, let's bring out my own OCs. So, Nick is the OC I have. He is a Greek demigod of Hades, and due to his curse, he has to wear black. The curse is where he gets these powers from his dad, and these powers have to deal with darkness and shadows and stuff. So, in order to help himself and to use less of his power, he wears black. However, that doesn't match his personality. Absolutely not. He is a flirt, a narcissistic piece of shit, and is pretty up there in the ego. He's not the typical Hades kid as you would see in like Percy Jackson, for example, like Nico D'Angelo. However, in shows like Voltron, Legendary Defender, color coordination is key. Color causes chemical reactions in your brain to make you feel certain things. So, like, take Keith, for example, my avatar. He is red. He is the red paladin. Red is power, it's anger and things and that, and Keith is kind of the embodiment of that. He is impulsive, he is usually angry. He results in violence instead of thinking with his head because he doesn't have people skills at all. Not that the character has to match how they look. It's just that you have to make a compelling character that makes sense. It's not a bad thing to color coordinate, but it's also okay to go against the norms.
The next character trait, which isn't really character design, but involves the drawing of a character, so I will count it, is drawing your OC in dynamic poses. Maybe you draw them dancing or ice skating, but don't just draw them standing there. It's okay to do that when you're first creating them, but after you've drawn them a few times, mix it up and draw them doing creative, different things that fit their personality. Like maybe they like to sing, draw them singing. Maybe they have other clothes they wear, draw them in those clothes that aren't their natural clothes they always wear. Maybe they have a lover they dance with, draw them dancing with their lover. Show, don't say.
This literally shouldn't be how to make an OC, this should be how to be a better artist. You're literally putting two concepts together to make one video that's about the other thing that you're talking about. Also, you showed a picture of Victor from Yuri on Ice, which is not an original character, it is a literal character from a literal anime.
Step 1 is colors. How to create a good color palette and not make eye-bleeding colors. To achieve really good color palettes, try looking up some color palettes online that you can use for your OCs. Look at color wheels and color palettes like the ones you're seeing now. Pause this video, use these color palettes, screenshot them. Listen in your art class. You probably have learned about color palettes and colors going together in art class. Look at OCs that have good color palettes and try and figure out why those OCs color palettes might work and might go together nicely. Look at bad OCs with bad color palettes and try and see why those OCs color palettes might be bad and they might not work together. And if all this isn't enough and you still need help with color palettes and are still confused on what to do, try looking up some videos on color theory and colors that work good together. Simple, easy to follow videos.
Oh my god, the audio clipping. Color wheels and color palettes are technically different. They do correlate because color palettes use the color wheel to make themselves. However, they are two different things. The color wheel is the entire spectrum of color. The color palette is just a combination of colors that make a thing look good. And you don't even have to learn how to use this because you literally have a resource that is free online called color.adobe.com. It is an Adobe program that is online that you can use for free. There is also examples of professionals and their color palettes that are really useful and I love them. And you don't need to learn how to use a palette. I am skipping this because it's literally repeating the bases and the recolor point. However, I will point out that the bases do in fact help improve certain things, such as drawing hair and clothes. You shouldn't also assume that they're not gonna try to improve on their own because that's what I did when I used bases. I drew on paper on my own to improve myself so I didn't have to use bases.
Next is how to avoid making crappy, bad, just standing there poses. Okay, so just go to the internet and click the search bar and search up a pose. You can just search up any poses if you want and copy them. You want to draw someone eating? Search up poses of people eating and you'll find them. Want to draw someone dancing? Search up poses of that and you'll find it. Ice skating? You'll find that too. You will find poses of anything. And if you can't, you can ask me. I mean, look at this cute dancing thing. Like, These are people playing sports and they're all motion poses. Use motion in your art. It will make it look 10 times better, even if you're the worst artist on the planet. Because just drawing things with them standing there, even if you draw them in different clothes or things, it's not as good as drawing motionful poses.
I fucking saw you, Haru, swimming in the water like you're fucking on the place. Jesus. And yes, poses are important, but that is pertaining to becoming a better artist, not making better characters.
It'll add life to your drawings. And you can even use real life poses if.
Did you just cut off your own audio?
Now, enough
Oh my
screwing
God,
around
did you
the
have to
bush.
yell?
Now we get to story. I will tell you first, like I did with OCs, what makes a bad story and how a bad story can become a good story. It's not that hard. Let's start with traits that just plain out don't make sense. First, this one from this bio. Notes, well read, time pursuit, not from Earth 16. What doesn't make sense here is well read. What does that even mean? Does it mean she was well read as a baby?
It means they like to read and they're smart because of it. Also, it's purist, not pursuit.
Next is this lovely bio. Age, debate, what? On profile? Boy, date of birth, August 5th. Bounty, there are just question marks. You didn't even finish that. Inflammation, straw weight, pirate, what? Roll, pain in the ass? That's not a roll. You can't be the pain in the ass and call that a roll. Please. Oh, please. And what's devil fruit? No. Is that like the ability to turn fruit into devils? What the hell? This whole bio makes no sense. Meaning electric? I guess you have electric powers and you can make electric devil fruit?
Debut. It means first appearance. Straw Hat is from One Piece as well as Devil Fruit. If you had done your research, you would have known that.
Next is this. Personality. Quiet. Not much familiar with many treatment methods and methods of murder. Methods? What even? Vengeance. Likes taking care of people. The dark. What does that at all have to do with vengeance? Vengeance is your reason to want to get payback on someone. That has nothing to do with that at all.
However, vengeful is perfectly acceptable as a character trait. You read that pretty wrong, to be honest. There are dots to signify where things end and when things start, although they are pretty hard to read. It reads as follows: quiet, not much. Familiar with many treatment methods and methods of murder, assuming it's a typo. And likes taking care of people, and I'm guessing that they like the dark, but I could be wrong on that.
Cause of death. The heart was pierced after the death of the body is broken. Scattered, abandoned. If the body was already broken when the heart was pierced, how can that be the cause of the death?
The cause of death was being pierced through the heart, and it described what happened afterwards. That's not exactly a hard concept.
Like, have you proofread this? Now this might look about as good as anything else. Likes, winning, having control, giving commands. Dislikes, losing, control, taking commands. Why is losing on there twice? Do you hate losing so much that you felt the need to put it on there twice? Is that how much they hate it?
They used a hyphen, so it is confusing, but it's the exact same thing as likes, except opposite, that they hate losing control and not losing twice like you thought it was. Even if you think it's the same thing, it's the same with the likes, so I don't see why you don't point that one out too.
Because God, they must really hate losing. Relationship. Jason. I don't know who he is, but he's clearly a boy. Sexuality. Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Yeah, I'm gonna question why you're so lazy. Status. Taken. Friends. Duncan, Courtney, Owen, Lindsay. The one thing I have the problem with is the sexuality and the question marks. He, or this character, is in a relationship. They are taken. They are taken by Jason. How can they be in a relationship and their sexuality is unknown? How does that work at all? It doesn't work. Take it from me. You don't go into a relationship uncomfortable with your sexuality and not knowing your sexuality.
It works because in real life, some people question their sexuality despite being in a relationship. This pisses me off, to be honest. Someone can be in a relationship without knowing what they are sexually.
Next is this interesting bio. Name, Freeze Flame, the penguin. That's just not a good name. Age, 16. Gender, male power. Your gender cannot be male power. That is not a... Oh, wait, the gender is male and power is elements? Be more descriptive. And then in the description, Ice Blade is the closest-minded emperor of the Southern Ice Kingdom. He hates fire and views flame as a Melvation freak. In fact, he is the one that banished Flame Freeze. Iceblade is partially blind because of an odd condition. Can you describe that condition? Can you be more descriptive? Can you make more sense in this bio? Because this bio is very badly worded and doesn't make too much sense. Can you give more backstory on the rest of your characters? Can you please just make more sense? Can you give this a better and more creative name other than just the Emperor? And why is the penguin part of his name? Can you take that out of his name completely? His power isn't even... his power is just cunning. What? This one's power is just cunning. I don't get this at all. I'm so lost. How is that power cunning? What? Can you be more descriptive with that power? Is your power just being a cunning, sexy man? Please, I don't get this at all. Make more freaking sense.
To me, it sounds like a Sonic OC. As in Sonic the Hedgehog. Cunning means the ability to evade or to be deceitful. It works perfectly fine as a power. Although condition, I do agree with you that they should have described it a little better.
Next, we have this wonderful piece of trash, which I will read to you now. Curse, kind of like her days around age 10, but it was terrible. She had the name Curse because she was cursed right after birth. One day while she was bullied from Maddie and Lucy, she started to see black-looking creatures behind them and she said to the girls there was something behind them. The girls looked, then saw the creatures. They were shocked to see these things for the first time. One of the creatures said to the girls to leave Curse alone or else they would kill them. The girls didn't hear anything, but Curse heard everything and told them what they said. They were so shocked that the girls went away, and Curse was relieved and noticed there were no shadows, and they were being nice to her. And that was when she actually realized she was cursed and to see and speak to shadows. 5 years later, she got a lot of friends like Sonic and all the other Sonic friends. She is not sure how she should introduce them. She's not sure if she should introduce them or not to her shadow friends. One day, she introduced them and they got used to each other, and Curse was. P.S. This is going to be Storm, but I changed the name. Until next time, this suffers from the worst thing. Getting bullied, the most overused trait, where she got bullied. And also, somewhere else in this story, her parents left her because she was cursed. It just comes out of nowhere. Making your character have bad traits like getting cursed, and then causing her to have a bad life out of nowhere. For doing nothing, just out of the bad shit nowhere. One day she's just magically a person worthy of getting bullied because she now magically has evil powers. No, don't do that. That's the worst trait you can possibly do. Ever. And if you do that trait, I consider rewriting it to at least make it something she's always had and can't help.
It was, though, she was cursed when she was born. I do agree that she didn't explain everything, but it did work out in the long run. Also, tropes aren't traits. Traits pertain to, characters, a personality trait. Tropes are things in stories that are used as a means to catch a reader's attention, like the dead parents trope that you use as an example of what you shouldn't do. Batman does this very well, because it's literally what made Batman Batman.
These are your children. This one. I won't read all of it, but I'll read the horrible part. Alright. So the horrible part is the last part. He doesn't mind pranking anyone, even if it results in them going to the hospital or dying. He actually likes the look, smell, and taste of blood. Now this is bad because gore is another overused factor for OCs, making them like blood, making them want to kill, blah blah blah, with them being power kill, liking the taste, smell of blood, and stuff. Unless they're evil characters, and you're specifically creating an evil villain, don't use this. And I don't get the feel anywhere that this character was supposed to be evil. I mean, it is Five Nights at Freddy's OC, but still. And this kind of comes out of nowhere at the end of the bio, so it's not like the rest of his personality trait is revolved around this, like most evil characters would if you want to do it right. So yeah, this just comes out of nowhere to be an extra added gory thing, so screw it.
Gore isn't a trope, it's an aesthetic, and doesn't have to do with the character's bloodlust. Not all evil characters have bloodlusts, and not all good characters don't have bloodlusts. It's literally just an aesthetic that people use. Just let them do it.
Now this is one that doesn't logically fit into the fandom. I've already read this, so I won't read it again, but it talks about a lot about how this robotic creature is the child of two robots. I don't think two robots can have a child. That's unlogical, first of all. Second of all, it talks about the fact that he acts more like a teenager than a robot. He's basically a teenage human anthropomorphic character than he is a robot.
In the fandom, people who dies possess the suits. So while I'm not saying that they should keep the whole parent to this teenage animatronic, they could have a child who was killed as a teen and still act as a teen in the suit. So the whole teenage thing can't happen. They just have to write it better.
This one, about Foxhorn's long life search for wealth while accomplishing her goal as a worldwide known treasure huntress has driven her to sheer insanity, taking extreme measurements to get what she wants. Almost as frightening is her photographic memory of every single word in every daring do book published. Anyone that encounters Foxhorn should be very careful, as her quick wits and unrelenting passion for the hunt will usually put her on top, with the losers coming out worse for wear. Now, the thing that bugs me with this one kind of seems like she already has a good life. She seems to be popular, and a lot of people know her. So why does she need more riches than this? She doesn't need more than what she already has. She's crazy.
That's the point. She wants more. Her fatal flaw is greed. It's literally they want something more than they already have, even though they have a lot. Or they think that they're right all the time, or they think that this is the only way to do something. They're flaws, and that's a good thing. I think that you're missing that.
She's crazy. Now, I will show you how you can improve this all, and how you can make all these horrible OC bio traits into beautiful OC bio traits. First thing I recommend, if you want a really good OC, is do a lot of research on this OC. I'll give you some examples using my OC. I have an OC who is pansexual and genderqueer. Well, anything relating to genderqueer. And when I decided to make that OC, I did a lot of research on the genderqueer community and the pansexual community, and I thought, how would this OC, as if he's human, how would he go about becoming genderqueer? How would all that come to him? And I did a lot of research to really understand genderqueer, and now I treat genderqueer to my OC as if he's a real human with genderqueer.
Person with genderqueer acting like it's a disease. I'm triggered! If you really did research, you'd know if it was genderqueer and not anything related to genderqueer, quote unquote. As a person who's gender fluid, I'm a little pissed off about this. Not to mention the bio before that questioning the sexuality thing.
And I do this for two reasons. One, because you want accuracy, you want to feel realistic, believable, relatable. And two, because if you did offend somebody by having, not handling genderqueer properly, that would be bad to offend somebody.
Obviously you didn't do enough because you fucking triggered me.
Next off is proofreading your bio. This is very important because if you have a bio with bad spelling, hard to understand words, horrible flow to it, or anything like that with a hard to understand thing, it'll make it hard for others to understand your bio and your characters. They could read it as, if your bio read like this: Hi, I like cheese, dog, cat, fish, pigs, don't like cat, dog, fish, or something that just didn't make sense. It would be so hard for people to understand that automatically they'd assume your OC was bad and that you were probably a troll because your bio is just so all over the place and bad. I cannot tell you how many bad bios I looked through that had horrible spelling, where was spelled L-U-K, or...
Oh, you mean your title screen? And I don't know about you, but I could understand that. They like cheese, dogs, cats, so on and so forth.
Something like that. And then there are just all those bios with a bunch of question marks. Make sure you fill in all the spots required and have...
Question marks usually indicate a thing that people don't want the reader to know, like their actual age or their real last name. Nick is an example of that, my character that I talked about before. His last name, he doesn't want other people knowing. Neither his middle name, because they're pretty embarrassing.
Oh, next is having a gore OC, an evil OC, or an OC like that. Now, if you have a gore OC, I recommend not having one unless you're making the OC specifically evil or it's specifically a creepypasta OC. Otherwise, it really doesn't work if you're trying to make an OC people are supposed to perceive as good, be gory.
Gore is not just for creepypasta, it just depends on what character you're making. Also, creepypasta is not even a genre, it's a subgenre in horror.
Then you have a depressed OC. I get that in real life depression happens, but most of the time with them, it's usually stricken from something like dead parents or otherwise, and it doesn't work unless they have clinical depression. And if you're going to make an OC with clinical depression, you need to do research on clinical depression to get it right. Because otherwise, it's not even real depression, and it's not worth it to have them crying and always depressed or angry.
Depression, the disorder, is a thing you should research, yes. However, depression isn't sadness, which is a thing that you feel when something happens to you. Depression is a thing that's wrong with your brain.
Then OCs with dead family members, parents, etc. If you do this, don't make it be the changing point of their life, like their parents died, so now they're depressed or evil, seeking revenge of their dead dead parents, or whatnot. Do not make it like their main stance point is their dead parents. Just make it, if you're gonna do it, just make it a little thing, but make them gain something from it. Like maybe because of this they met their boyfriend. I don't know.
Oh dang, like Batman? Cause like Batman's parents are dead, so is Peter Parker's, Tony Stark, Captain America. It's an overused trope, yes, but it's not bad when used correctly. Skipping to the end of the video because her closing thoughts are all jumbled and it cuts off awkwardly and it's so dumb. So my final thoughts. You repeat points way too often. This is the reason why this video is so long. You use absolutes, which I think you shouldn't do that because that gives limitations to making a character, and making a character shouldn't have limitations because you're making a thing. Your examples get jumbled within your points, so like say you were talking about a good character but there was a bad character on screen, or you were talking about bad characters and had a good character on screen. Syncing your video to match makes sense. You also need to learn how to edit your videos better, or just learn to take retakes, because I don't know about you, but I don't exactly like it when I have to hear your sniffles. Half of the video was saying how to improve your art, and they weren't even that unique of an argument. And the other half is just rambling on how garbage everything was in the character design, which character design is only half of what makes a character. Also, the hypocrisy of this video was baffling. You say proofreading is important, but you misspelled character. You couldn't pronounce words, and you didn't even know their definitions. Maybe do more research when doing a video like this before you make a video like this again, since you didn't seem to want to do that beforehand in this video. However, since this video was made such a long time ago, and you've made a new one, these arguments could seem irrelevant since the new video is out. But like I said, I think it's important to see what was wrong in the first video before moving on to the next. Anyway, this video has gotten long enough. See you in the next one, where I cover the new video. Later!